What's going on, everybody, and welcome to my channel. This is going to be part 2 of building Twitter using UIKit and Google's Firebase. So in the last part, we added the tab bar view controller as well as the basic structure for our table view controller. In this part, we're going to design and create our customized cell so that we can view tweets inside our home feed controller. So without further ado, let's dive in and open up Xcode. So let's pick up from where we left off in the last time. First of all, I've opened Xcode, and right now I'm just going to go here and create a new folder. So new group, and I'm gonna call that views. Inside that, I'm gonna create my custom cell. So let's just type new file here, which is gonna be a Cocoa Touch class, which is gonna be a type of UI table view cell. And this view cell, I'm gonna call it tweet, alright, table view cell. Alright, so we're gonna press create. And first of all, we're gonna remove all of these because we're not gonna need that. So first of all, let me just give that an identifier so that we can register the cell in our table view. So let me type static let identifier, and this is going to be the exact name of the class of our table view cell. All right, so first of all, we're gonna need to initialize that. So super.init with a style and also reusable identifier. And here we just need to implement also the coder in it so that we're not going to be prone to errors. So I'm just going to type here required init, fatal error, and that's it. So first of all, I'm going to need to add some UI image so that we can pass the avatar of the user. So basically private let avatar image view, which is going to be of a type UI image view. All right, so let me use the anonymous closure as well. So let image view UI image view, we're going to initialize that. And here we're going to be using the AutoLayout so that we need to say translate auto resizing masks into constraints. We're going to set that to false so that we can actually work with our constraints. All right, so also I'm just gonna say content mode. All right, so this is going to be scale aspect fill so that we can fill the entire image view as well as retaining the same aspect ratio of the image. And also we're gonna have to say image view dot layer dot corner radius, and that's going to be of 25 because actually I'm thinking of making the UI image here around 50 points, so that 25 points radius is going to make that image view a circular image view. All right, so also I'm just gonna say image view dot layer dot masks to bounds, and that is going to be true. All right, image view dot so clips to bounds, and that's going to be true as well. And last but not least, we're gonna return the image view over here. All right, so basically we just need to add the image view over here. So content view dot add sub view, and I'm going to pass in my avatar image view. All right, and also I'm just gonna create a new function over here so that I'm gonna say configure constraints. All right, so let me create that function, which is going to be a private function because we don't want to access this function from outside. So private configure, let's say the name, configure constraints. All right, and let's say here that we want to configure the constraints of the UI image itself. So let me type here avatar image view constraints, and I'm going to define that as a new array which is going to hold the constraints for the UI image. So the first one is going to be avatar image dot leading anchor, and that is going to be constrained by the leading anchor of the cell as well. However, it's going to be pushed a little bit further into the right direction. So dot constraints. So basically we're gonna have to add a content view dot leading anchor, which is basically the leading anchor of the cell. And also I can add something like I don't know, like 20. Okay, and also we're gonna have to set the top constraint of that as well. So avatar image view dot top anchor dot constraints, and that's going to be constrained with the content view dot top anchor, and let me just say something around 14. Alright, so now we have the X and Y of the avatar image view. Now let's set the width and the height anchor as well. So avatar image view dot height anchor dot constraints, and that is going to be equals to constant, which is going to be 50, so that we can make sure with the 25 points radius that this image view is going to be circular. Right, and the avatar image view dot width anchor dot constraint as well is going to be 50. So the thing that we need to do right now is just to activate those constraints. So yeah, I forgot the keyword font over here. I bet you guys noticed that and you were pulling your head off, or maybe okay. So let's just say ns layout constraints. All right, so activate, and we're gonna pass the avatar image view constraints. This is all what we're gonna need to simply add the image view that we're gonna hold the avatar of the user. And over here I can just say image view dot image, and that's going to be a UI image, system image. Let's pass in some arbitrary image. Let's say person. All right, and also I can give that a background color so that we can actually see the circular image view. So image view dot background color, and I'm gonna say and I'm gonna set that to maybe red. Okay, so yeah, red seems nice. All right, so right now we just also have to add the display name for the user as well as the username. So we're gonna create two labels over here. So let's just start by adding private let display name. All right, and that is going to be a UI label. All right, so let's initialize that with the anonymous closure as well. So let label, that's going to be UI label. We're gonna set that text for that. Let's just say for now my name. Let's say for example, so Hosam. As well as we're gonna set the font of that as well. All right, so let's say label.font, and that is going to be equals to system font of size and weight. So let's say, for example, a size of 18 and a weight of bold. And just to be clear here, I played around with the numbers before, so I'm not saying that I'm just getting those numbers out of my head immediately, but I just played with the numbers until I found good value actually for the font for the text label, or basically the display name label. Right, so let's just say here I just need for the consistency, so display name label. And since we're going to be using the AutoLayout as well, so let's say label.translate auto resizing mask constraints equals to false. And over here, let me say label dot or let's just return the label for now. All right. So basically we have the display name label right now. So let's start by creating the username label as well. So let's say here private let username label, and that's going to be a UI label. Let's use the anonymous closure as well. As you can see here, basically we're just doing the same stuff over and over again, but with just some different attributes so that we can curate this to our custom design, or basically the Twitter design that we're going to be making today. So let label is going to be UI label. Let's initialize that. The label font is going to be system font of size and weight. Let's say for example 16, because we want to have the display of the username label just a little bit smaller than the display name. So 16 is just gonna be good. And also the weight is going to be regular, and also we're going to use the auto layout as well. So label.translate auto resizing masks constraints, and that's going to be set to false. And then we just have to return the label over here. As you can see here, Xcode is still complaining because it misses the return, but as you can see here, it works fine as well. All right, so we've been talking for too much, so let's just choose the simulator that we're going to be working with, which is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And now let's just say command R, so hit build and run, and let me see what do we get so far. Basically we get nothing. Why? Because we have created the cell, but we haven't used the cell or actually passed the cell inside our table view. I'm gonna make sure everything is working here. Yes, basically this is what we made in the last tutorial. So let's just go to home view controller, let's scroll up, and as you can see here we have the table view, but we have just registered a normal UI table view cell. So let me just say tweet table view cell dot self, and the identifier of that is going to be basically tweet table view cell dot identifier, because that was the name of the function, or basically the name of the class that we have initialized the table view cell inside of it. So right now we have registered the cell. So now it's time to dequeue it in here. So let me just remove that and let me type that from the beginning. So guard let cell is going to be table view, right? So we're just gonna dequeue a cell with identifier for a specific index path. So over here, let me just say tweet table view dot identifier, and here I'm just gonna be passing the index path I have over here, as you can see here, which is gonna be passed from the data source delegate. Also, I'm just gonna cast that optionally to tweet table view cell. Else, if that was a failed operation, let me just say return a normal UI table view cell, and let's just hope that we don't hit this part of the code. Alright, so over here I'm just going to return a cell. So now we have everything set up. So let me just hit build and run, and let me see what do we get so far. So as you can see here, we have our custom table view cell is being rendered on the screen successfully, but we have some issues with it. So let's fix it. So basically, as you can see here, we just need to add maybe much higher height for the cell until we reach the point where we can actually make the cell adjust its height dynamically based on the content of the cell itself. So for here, let me just say height for row at index. So let me just return maybe for 120 over here, and let me just go back to my view table, or basically table view cell, and as you can see here, we have actually added the avatar image only. So we just need to add the other views that we've added. So content view dot add sub view, and we're going to be passing the display name label, and also we're just going to repeat the same process with the username label. Before we add this, or basically before we run the app one more time, we just need to configure the constraints for those sub-views as well. So over here, let me just say display name label and just add the word constraints, because I like to follow that convention. So the names of the name of the constraint actually should be matching the name of the view that we are actually assigning those constraints to. So display name constraints is going to be an array. We're just going to add display name label dot leading anchor. We're just going to constrain that 20 points right on the right, or basically after the trailing point of the image view that we have. Right avatar image view dot trailing anchor, and we're just gonna add 20 points so that it's not going to be cluttered on the same point. All right, so display name label dot top anchor the constraints, and we're gonna constrain that with the content view. So basically, let's say content view dot top anchor, and just we're gonna give like more 20 points as well over here. Next thing that we need to do, we're gonna have to activate the constraints for the display name label as well after the avatar image view constraints, because we're actually depending on this. So you know, order is important here. So ns layout activate. All right, avatar image constraints. All right, no, that's not it. So basically, yeah, display name label constraints. So basically, we just need to activate the username display, or basically username label as well. So let me just say here username label constraints, right? And that is going to be also an array which we're going to be past the constraints of that as well. So before we do so, let me just activate that as well so we don't forget. So username label constraints. All right, so let's start by adding the constraints for the username label as well. So basically, let's just say username label dot leading anchor, and I want that to be 10 points from the display name label. So the constraint, and we're gonna be adding this to the display name label dot trailing anchor, and that is going to be 10 points after the trailing point of the display name label. So as you can see here, basically we're saying whatever the width of the display name, I just want to start adding my username label 10 points after that. So let's say 10 points, and maybe we're gonna have to add them on the same line, and I don't want to, you know, have them on a common line because as you can see here, this is going to be a slightly bigger text than the username, because the display name label is just 18 points, and that is going to be 16 points bold regular, so there's going to be difference in height. So let me just say username label dot center y anchor, and I'm going to center that with the display name label anchor. All right, and over here we have everything set up and displayed. Okay, so the display name label should display my name over here. Let's say for the label I just want to add maybe a username for that, so let's say @. All right, so let me just hit build and run, and let me see what we get so far. I believe, yes, we have our sales over here. So right now we just need to add the content view for the sale as well. So let's just do that. Right, so before we do so, I just need to change my label color. So text color, and that's going to be to secondary label. Let me hit build and run one more time. And now, as you can see here, the username is slightly dimmer than the rest of the words, or basically the display name, which is basically is going to be white over here, and this is going to be gray. Also, if you toggle between the light mode and the dark mode, as you can see here, they are adaptive as well. So let's add the text view content for the tweet itself. All right, so let's just go here over the initializer and say private let tweet text content label, and that is going to be a UI label as well. All right, so I'm just saying the same stuff over again. So let's just type let label. It's going to be UI label, right? And also we're going to be using the same auto layout. So let's say label.translate all resizing mask to false. All right, and over here we're just going to return the label. Fair enough. Also, I'm going to add some arbitrary text over here. So basically label.text, maybe some long text. So this is my mock-up tweet. It is going to take multiple lines. I believe some more text is enough, right? But let's add some more. All right, so basically this is going to be the text that we're going to add as our text content for the tweet. Over here I'm just going to say label.multi-line text, or basically the number of lines is going to be 0, and assigning the number of lines to 0, that means we're telling Swift we don't know actually how many lines this is going to be, so adapt yourself. So basically you can just calculate that on your own and just expand to whatever lines of text that are going to contain this. So right now we just need to add the tweet text content as well. So let's say content view dot add some view, so tweet text content label. All right, and also we just need to set the constraints for that as well. Over here, let me say tweet text content label constraints, and that is going to be a new array, and we're going to add this to our constraints as well. So let's add the constraints for the tweet text content. So I want my tweet text content to be constrained by the leading anchor of the image view. So let's just write that. So tweet text content label dot leading anchor, that is going to be constrained with the avatar image view dot leading anchor. All right, or basically I want that to be constrained with the display name. So as you can see here, we can just play around with this until we reach the basically the point that we can say yeah, we want that design. So display name label dot leading anchor, and also I want to constrain that to be 10 points under the display name label. So tweet text content label top anchor, and that is going to be constrained with the display name label dot bottom anchor, and I'm just going to say this is going to be 10 points down. And also in order for us to contain that text, and it's just going to adjust its height based on the content of the text itself, so we have to constrain that text, or basically the boundary of the text, from the 4 edges, which is basically the top, the bottom, the leading, and trailing as well. Since we're not going to be adding the actions of the tweets right now, which is basically the reply, comment, or basically retweet, like, and all that kind of stuff, I'm just going to set that bottom anchor actually to the content view, so that when we constrain this from all the 4 edges, it's just going to compute its height, and basically it's going to stretch or basically push the cell accordingly. So let's say tweet text content label dot bottom anchor constraints content view dot bottom anchor -15. Let's activate that as well. And now let's hit build and run, and just let me see what we get so far. All right, so as you can see here, basically we forgot to constrain the trailing anchor as well. So let me just do that. So basically, as you can see here, we have the leading, the top, and the bottom, and we just need to constrain the trailing anchor as well. So tweet text content label dot trailing anchor constraints, and that is going to be constrained by the content view. So content view dot trailing anchor, and let's say something around 15 points. Let me just hit build and run, and let me see what do we get. So yeah, we just forgot to add our separator over here. And before we do so, we just need to go to home view controller. We just need to remove the fixed 120 points height so that we can see actually how it's going to stretch to contain its text content. So let me just hit build and run, and let me see what we get so far. So as you can see here, basically we have reached the design that we are looking for over here. So basically in the next tutorial, we're gonna add the actions of the tweets, and also we're gonna customize our nav bar, or basically the navigation bar, and we're gonna add the logo, and we're gonna add the avatar for the user which is being currently logged in. So that's it for this tutorial. So if you liked what you just saw, please hit that like button, consider subscribing to my channel. It's going to help me a lot continue making those videos for you. And please, if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment section down below. So once again, that was Amr. Happy coding and stay safe.